That's how me.
I'm meeting close to her neighbor's house because she.
Hey Matt, I'm here.
I hear both of you guys good. What's going on?
Oh, camera ready to go whenever. We're 38 seconds on the clock. I'm assuming there's an anthem, so we'll just start.
Do you want to start and then cut out?
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the Ad Council.
You guys there? Hello? 10? You guys there?
Yeah, yes, I'm here. I'm here.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2.
Under the lights for a non-conference matchup between the 10-3 Ithaca College Bombers and the 7-6 Cortland Red Dragons. I'm Casper alongside Jeremy Goldstein, and we thank you for joining us here on WICB and your Bomber Radio Network. Ithaca is coming off a 11-8 win against Skidmore Saturday after losing to RIT just 1 week ago, taking an absolute beating. Meanwhile, Cortland crushed Oneonta this weekend, 22-5 on a 4-game winning streak. Jeremy, what should we look for in today's game?
Well, this is not a conference game, not typically as big as these Liberty League competitions, but the anthem is about to begin, so we'll get to it after that concludes.
The voice of Ithaca College, we prioritize diversity and inclusion. We are working to ensure that more voices are heard. We support and will continue to support the Black Lives Matter movement and victims of police brutality and racial injustice. We've heard you, we support you, we must advocate for change. Black Lives Matter.
Want to be the first to hear the best of what's next? Tune in every Tuesday at 7 for the new music show right here on VIC Radio, the voice of Ithaca College.
As the midterms roll by and the tests and quizzes pile up by the day, if you feel like you're a little in over your head, consider finding yourself a free tutor at the ithaca.edu/tutoring page online, getting yourself matched up with someone in whatever classes you need, and working out times that fit around your schedule so that you can focus on your schoolwork.
When the red flashing lights on a school bus come on and the stop sign comes out, you must stop. In New York State, you cannot move again until the red flashing lights go off and the stop sign is retracted, or until the driver or traffic officer. This will be the last one, and I'll play you guys back. Don't mute yourself, because then I can't hear the anthem.
If you decide it's okay to risk a child's life and pass a stopped school bus,
you could face fines or even have your license revoked. Is it really worth it? Always obey the school bus stopping law in your state. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Again, it's a beautiful afternoon here on the South Hill, Ithaca College campus, under the lights here at Ithaca Stadium. Jeremy, what are we looking today from the Ithaca College Bombers as they come off of an 11-8 win against Skidmore?
Well, it's an out-of-conference matchup, and obviously Ithaca hasn't had the Liberty League success they've desired so far this season, with a couple of games to go. But this is a great chance to improve themselves in the regional ranking, get some momentum going into the end of this regular season, into the Liberty League tournament, and obviously, Cam, it's SUNY Cortland, so you want to get a win, especially on your home turf. So big game at Higgins coming up right now.
It's the Cortland Lacrosse rival, as this is a big game for Ithaca as well. You know, you take a look at Cortland on the stat sheet, and they don't look too impressive. They don't look like a really good team to play against. However, when you watch them play throughout the season, they have been a very, very tough opponent for a lot of teams. Again, they're off of a 4-game winning streak. Jeremy, who's the player to watch out on both teams tonight?
Well, for Ithaca, it's tough because obviously they've scored a lot of points, but I'm going to go with a defensive player before the Bombers because Cortland's been on a scoring team. I'm going to go with Colin Dell out of Pleasantville, New York, just somebody who forces a lot of turnovers in the neutral zone and defensively. So if the Bombers can, get themselves more time of possession, that would be pretty vital. And as for Cortland, I'm just going to go with Dante Yacovo, one of the main attackers on this team. Like I said, the Red Dragons score a lot of goals, especially in their SUNYAC competition as of late, so you want to make sure that comes to a halt.
All right, and we are just underway here at Higgins Stadium as the faceoff is won by Cortland's number 54, Owen Neubauer. Neubauer takes it up right now onto the far side by the College bench. As it's taken right into the midfield area, and there's a check on by Tommy May, excuse me. Cortland still remains in control as Tony Morris takes it up right now. Passes right back to Christopher Dovey. Dovey over to Connor Gallagher. Gallagher right back to the far side of the field, Tony Morris.
The only opportunity for the Bombers to get a turnover with the Red Dragon on the turf, as LaForte makes a really nice save right there, but unfortunately unable to come up with possession.
Ryan LaForte in net for the Bombers. He's been a very huge part of this season, as there's a pass almost lost control there was Dimitri Lowry on defense for the Bombers. But again, Ryan LaForte has been a huge piece for this Ithaca College Bombers team.
Obviously, that's a credit to the defenders and midfielders for blocking, shooting, and passing lanes, as Lowry sails a pass too far there. It will be Cortland ball, but guys like Lowry, they're going to be vital in this game against Cortland, an offensive juggernaut, so important for the Bombers to play tight.
It's Dominic Natalie with it now. He comes up with it. Taking it across midfield is Zach Jones. Zach Jones has played in 13 games, starting in only one of them, make this 2, as the ball is now on the far side of the field, and right back out to midfield for Tony Morris. It's Zach Jones with it again. He comes across midfield towards the middle, tries to attack, shot, and a save by LaForte.
2 early saves by LaForte. That's a really good sign, one, because now he's really warmed up in terms of in-game play, and pretty much they're used to this Cortland attack now. It's just about getting the ball onto the opposite side of the field.
Ball went out of play and was going to stay with Cortland, as I believe the player was closest to it, as is Tony Morris with it again. He finds Christopher Dooley with it. He shoots, he scores, gets it past LaForte for the first goal of the game, goes to the Red Dragons. It was Christopher Dovey with the shot that went right past LaForte.
Well, that's just a bit unfortunate. I believe Yacovo tapped it home, and LaForte did make the sliding save from that left post originally, but the rebound got by him. Lots of pressure on LaForte early. Obviously, it's good to make those initial saves, but
that goal was just waved off. I think either there was a player in the crease, I think LaForte had it, might have lost control but recollected it, but the rest did wave it off, so that counts as no goal.
It's a big break for the Bombers, but in the end, obviously LaForte faced 4 shots already. We're not even 3 minutes into this one, so need to take down that pressure and get the ball on the offensive zone. We haven't really gotten any pressure going yet.
Blake Eischen with it now towards the far side of the field near the Cortland bench. He passes it down low. And it's Connor Brumfield with it now. Brumfield starting once again for the Bombers. He's been a major factor for the Bombers here. And it's Blake Eischen with it now towards the near side. Eischen with it gets checked a little bit, has pushed back to Brumfield. Brumfield takes it, tries to find an open lane towards the net, can't find one, and passes it to John Ceramic, who leads the Bombers team in goals this season. As it's passed right back out to Charlie Niebuhr, Niebuhr, Brumfield. Brumfield's got it now. He tries to find an open lane. He does. He gets the ball stripped away by Logan Schnars of the Red Dragons, and the Red Dragons take possession.
Well, obviously Cortland knows about these shooters on this team, Ceramic, Erickson, Eischen, but just obviously no fear in terms of hitting the ball onto the stick there. Forced turnover for Cortland early. No shots on goal for the Bombers in that possession.
Travis Wagner's the goaltender for the Red Dragons. He launches it all the way upfield to Austin Palmer, and we're going to get a stoppage in play. And the ball's going to go right back to the Bombers.
Well, that's a fortunate result. Obviously, a little bit of sloppiness early on, Cam, but let's see if somebody can pick it up and be a little more fundamentally sound and get some nice shots on net.
Ceramic with it now towards the near side of the field. Coming from behind the net, pass right back out to midfield.
It's Drew Turner.
For Drew Turner. Turner back to Ceramic, who finds Brumfield behind the net. Brumfield still has it now towards the far side. He can't find an opening and finds Turner once again towards midfield, who finds Kyle Savory, the sophomore. He tries to attack, finds the open lane, tried to shoot there, got the ball stripped, as Ceramic has it now, and a Bomber recovery. Loose ball right now, still loose, trying to recover it was, Willie Wright, as the Bombers still maintaining possession. Brumfield towards the far side. He passes right back out to Turner. Turner trying to attack, can't find the open lane, passes right back to Brumfield. Behind the net now is number 39, Kyle Proctor. Proctor finds Kyle Savory once again. Savory holds the ball, tries to find an open lane, but is pushed back. Savory with the shot, and that goes wide. That's going to go out of play, and it's going to stay with Ithaca, as there was a Bomber close to the ball. That's John Ceramic.
Jake Erickson, really notorious for cutting to the net there. Really great denial by Cortland in terms of stopping his momentum. So Ithaca will take it with a fresh shot clock, 80 seconds, but they're looking for their first shot on goal still. I guess Cortland takes it from the corner now. My apologies.
I think that ball might have been touched by a Bomber, which is why it went to Cortland, as it's goaltender Travis Wagner with it now. He launches it once again towards midfield to find Alex Thrasher with it.
Don't want those passes to get through. It's a long pass, and obviously those should be easier to intercept.
Thrasher finds Dovey, who still has it, passes it towards the middle of the net for Dante Iacovone. Finds Triolo once again behind the net, and passes right back out to midfield. Red Dragons coming up with it now. Tries to find an open hole for the attack, but can't. It's Dovey with it, and it goes all the way back to midfield. Tyler Starrett passes towards the far side. There's a shot and a save by LaForte.
This is an offensive battle so far. Something neither of these teams have really experienced so far. With 9:28 remaining in the first quarter, no goals on the board yet. Ithaca looks to get one here.
That shot was by Austin Palmer on the far side, as Ithaca still has it down below. With it now was Kyle Savory, as he still holds. And I believe that's number 33, Charlie Niebuhr, who just came off the bench. There's a shot and a save by Wagner, and Ithaca still recovers with it. It's John Ceramic, Kyle Savory behind the net with it. Blake Eischen drives in, he scores! What a shot from Blake Eischen from midfield almost, with a bouncer shot past Wagner. It's 1-0, excuse me.
That's just a great response. He's number 39, the first year. Kyle Proctor trying to find a center and try somebody cutting to the net. It's unsuccessful. He outlets it back out to Blake Eischen, who fires one, a bouncer from behind the circle and gets one through. That's a really good break for the Bombers and an important 1-0 lead as they commence this game.
Bombers taking a 1-0 lead with 8:55 left to go in the first period here at Higgins Stadium, as we get set for another face-off, as Cortland won the first one, and there's another strangle for yet, and Ithaca comes away with it. It's number 11, Chase Gulick.
Winning those face-offs after scoring, that's going to prove like a momentum loser for the Red Dragons, especially in this case with them failing to score after 4 shots on LaForte, all of them saved.
It's Drew Turner with it. Back to midfield to Willie Wright. Willie Wright tries to find an open hole to attack, but can't. Turner with it now. He comes to the near side, can't find the open hole. Almost intercepted by the Red Dragon, but it's going to be collected by Kyle Savory once again towards midfield. You see that he tries to find an open hole, but is quickly defended and is slashed with a stick. Savory pushes off a defender and finds play behind that. There's a shot and a save by Wagner. Shot was by Drew Turner. That was a nice bouncer save. It's Erickson with it now. Erickson is second on the team in goals, as the Bombers cannot find an open hole to attack. It's still 1-0 here with 7:45 left on the clock in the first period here. It's Willie Wright with it, tries to find the open hole once again, and finds Erickson behind the net. Erickson with a behind-the-back shot, but that goes wide, and it's going to stay with Ithaca as it was Wright who's closest to the ball.
Yeah, again, Cortland is not really afraid to play ahead of the crease. Don't even let shots get through to Wagner. Obviously, the one shot they did was scored in the following one by Turner, saved by the left leg, but Cortland's done a really great job with their aggressiveness as they create a possession for themselves. Let's see if the fifth shot's the charm. 7:16 to go in the first.
That was Alex Thrasher who had it, who dropped it off for Dovey. Taking with it now is Troy Morris. Morris carries it at midfield and passes it across to number 44, Brandon Stiles. Stiles fires it across field once again as Troy Morris once again collects. Stiles back with it. He drives up, is heavily defended though. Gets a whack at his stick, but passes it off to Morris once again on the far side. Morris shot off the post. Lucky bounce there for LaForte. That went right past him on a shot from Morris as Cortland recollects on the rebound. Dovey with it now behind the net. He travels out towards midfield to find Zach Jones. Jones with it, 6:25 left. Ithaca 1-0. Tries to find Dovey in the middle there and can't as the ball goes wide, and the ball's going to go to Ithaca.
Ithaca's gotten some good breaks. That last shot especially, first time LaForte's beat, luckily goes off the left post. Ithaca looking to extend their 1-0 lead here as they rush up the turf.
And Ithaca needs to take advantage of these little mistakes by Cortland and these lucky bounces that they're getting. And they haven't so far. They've only scored one goal. They should be up at least by 2 or 3 right now, given the lucky mistakes they've got. As it's Blake Eischen with it, who carries it all the way upfield and behind the net to find Ceramic on the other side. Ceramic holds. He can't find an open spot. He launches it all the way back out to midfield for Niebuhr. Niebuhr with it. Finds Ceramic once again. Ceramic is heavily defended as always, gets a couple of whacks, and is tripped up. There's a shot, but it was a save by Wagner. That was a shot by Connor Brumfield, as that was saved, and now it's taken by Cortland all the way upfield.
That was a very acrobatic shot by Brumfield, getting taken down from behind on a rebound, yet a really nice save by Wagner to make sure that it didn't go through.
Dovey holds with it right now. He tries to find some offenders to pass it to, as he finds Austin Palmer. Palmer still holds at midfield and fires it across to Tyler Starrett. Starrett now all the way down on the far side of the field towards the Bomber bench, but back at midfield. It's Ryan Scanlon with it now. He drives down, finds a player behind the net, and is right back to Dovey. He passes right back out to midfield. It's now on the far side, taken by Starrett, and there's a save by LaForte.
LaForte's just reflexes today have been top-notch, always knowing where the ball is, his peripheral vision on point. Another Ithaca possession thanks to his stick.
4:30 left here in the first period. It is 1-0 Bomber still, as it's now at midfield with Ceramic getting whacked a few times. Pass all the way across to Savory, who finds Erickson down below. Erickson still holds to find Winters. Winters fired it back to Ceramic and all the way back out to midfield. It's Erickson again. Erickson tries to find a hole. He does. Tries to come around him, but is heavily defended. Erickson gets shoved a little bit there. Still has the ball. Takes a shot, and it's a save off the stick of Wagner. And the ball is going to go out, but it will stay with the Bombers as they were closer to the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the 4th or 5th time that Ithaca's been forced to shoot from behind the circle, and that's been Cortland's MO so far. Make sure the shots are difficult and long, and it makes the saves a lot easier for Wagner. It gives him a lot more time to react.
Stolman with it now at midfield, who finds Erickson once again on the far side. He makes a nice little spin move to get past the defender, and looked like an illegal move, potentially, and Cortland still takes possession of the ball.
Cam, yeah, a really low scoring affair here. 3:27 to go here in the first though. Just a 1-0 game. Cortland looking for a quick response here. Not even quick, just any response at all.
It was a little tic-tac-toe pass from Yakavone and Dovey, but it's right back out to midfield once again as the Red Dragons look to get set up for an offensive attack. Down now on the far side of the field is Morris, who gets it back. Morris finds Stiles at midfield and gets the ball back once again from Jones. Morris has it once again. He finds an open space, tries to drive down low, and it's Pat Doyen with it now, who gets subbed in, and finds its way all the way back to Jones, back at midfield once again. Jones now drives in, tries to get a shot up, but can't. There's a shot and a save by LaForte that goes off him, and it's going to, looks like it will stay with Cortland, as that was another great save by LaForte.
I will say, if he tried to go post to post and find Yakadone, he had open nylon there, but tried to beat it through that short side. Cortland does retain possession, but LaForte, great awareness once again. A bit of a mishap by Cortland, though.
At midfield now is Tony Morris with the ball. He's one of their top players and is being heavily defended once again as he finds Jones with it down low, tries to pass to the middle of the field. Jones with it now, at midfield. He can't get a shot off. As Styles with it, and Ryan LaForte up with another save.
Credit Dimitri Lowry there because he forced the shot to be on the ground with not a lot of velocity on it, and LaForte made an easier save.
2 minutes left to go in the first period. Ithaca still leads by 1. It's 1-0 as Ceramic has the ball, but it was taken by the Red Dragons. Number 25, Justin Wainwright, as they get repossession once again.
And that's just an unacceptable turnover in the neutral zone. The neutral zone is all about getting set, getting ready offensively, and Cortland just caught him off guard.
Dobie with it now down below. He finds Morris once again back up towards midfield. Morris finds Styles. Back to Morris once again. Morris and Styles, do a little bit of a crisscross here. Switch positions, trying to find an open hole to attack at LaForte. There's a pass down below.
1:18 to go here, so not a lot of possessions left in the quarter.
Zach Jones with it. Makes a couple of spin moves, but can't get by. Down below to Pat Doyen. Doyen finds Morris up top. There's a shot, and it's blocked in front. And it's going to be Styles with it, who picks it up again, and he scores gets the ball right past Ryan LaForte. I believe that was stick side, and Cortland ties it up at 1 with 1:03 left in the first period.
And Cortland's been a little bit better with the loose balls, and it paid off there in that Ithaca zone, catching it inside the crease. Morris, great reaction. LaForte, a point-blank shot. That would have been really difficult to stop. That is the equalizer for the Red Dragons. 1:03 to go in the quarter, but this is a big draw control here. We'll see if Ithaca could take over and get a goal.
Again, these face-off and draw controls are extremely important in such a tight game as this one. It's 1-1 as Cortland just tied it up. We're having a little bit of stoppage here at the dot, but Ithaca had some little advantages to try and take advantage of, but they just obviously couldn't, as Ithaca's going to win the face-off as it's Chase Gulick with the second win of the day. There's a shot and a score by Jake Erickson. Right past Wagner with a bouncer stick side. Ithaca crawls right back to take a 2-1 lead.
I mean, that's just the brilliant lacrosse IQ of Jake Erickson. Gulick with a great face-off win, moved into the zone, finds Erickson, who's had very little room to work with all day, and once he sees that open shooting lane, drills it right past Wagner. 56.5 seconds to go in the quarter. Big advantage. Great response by the Bombers. We'll see if they can close off the rest of the quarter strong.
That's Erickson's 36th goal on the season, as there's another push there as Cortland tried to win the face-off, and Ithaca will get the ball back. That was a push by Owen Newbound, who tried to win the face-off, But again, he committed a penalty, and Ithaca will take the ball up. It's Ceramic now, who tries to attack from the side, but can't. Makes it a little bit of a spin move. Ceramic still has it. Gets whacked a couple of times, and he finally finds Aishin to pass it back to at midfield. Aishin with it now. He comes up with speed from midfield. Has some teammates open, but still maintains possession of the ball. There's a shot by Aishin. It is saved by Wagner. Rebound available in front of that, and it's going to be taken by number 27 of the Red Dragons, Jake Smeater. 15 seconds left here in the first period. 2-1 Ithaca.
11 seconds.
It was Bowden with it who finds Dovey. 5 seconds left in the first period. Mishandled pass there from Dovey, and that will likely do it here for the first period. Ithaca with a 2-1 lead over Cortland. Jeremy, what do we have to look for from really both sides going into the second period?
You know, this game, the definition of it is high intensity, lots of contact, really just a lack of offense, lots of turnovers forced in this game. 4 on the end of the Bombers, while 3. So 7 total turnovers in that first quarter. That is definitely a lot. Not a lot of shooting lanes. Ryan LaForley was awesome. If they just have to take the pressure off him a little bit more, especially throughout the rest of this first half. But the Bombers up 2-1. You'll take that anytime, especially against a hot Cortland team. Again, they're 4-0 in conference over in the Celiac. So, I mean, they just got to keep the momentum on their side. Maybe start by winning a face-off, score the goal, and see how it goes from there.
Both teams have won one of their 2 face-offs each. So face-offs are tight. Again, that is a massive key part to winning this game, as it is such a tight game. Again, Cortland coming on a 4-game winning streak. Ithaca just beating Skidmore off a really big defeat by RIT, one of the top teams in the country. I believe they're number 3 in Division III rankings. But yeah, Jeremy, you're right. These face-offs are huge. Ithaca's got to take advantage of these smaller mistakes and turnovers led by Cortland. Ithaca has made 7 saves on the ice. That was just updated, and Wagner has made 5 for Cortland. So the goaltenders are coming up big once again here in this matchup.
And I'll say this, right? It's a small sample size, but Ithaca is 3 for 4. They've won 3 out of 4 faceoffs so far in the game. If faceoffs are going to be their strength throughout the course of this matchup against Cortland, you want to get to the faceoff circle more. And how do you do that? Putting the ball in the net. So throw balls at Wagner. Obviously, he's had to make some easy saves so far. Let a couple get by him. The closer you can get those point-blank opportunities. Obviously, Cortland playing really aggressively, but we know Ithaca has some really elusive scorers here who can make it work.
All right, and we are set here for the start of the second period. It is 2-1 Ithaca to start the second period, as the face-off is won once again by Ithaca. That's their second face-off win out of 3. As it's Dimitri Lowry with it now. He stops. They're trying to find something in midfield. He does.
Bombers made that 4 out of 5 they've won. They just got to, again, put the ball in the net, and the success will come. The lead will increase.
Erickson with it now towards the near side, as he loses control of the ball, gets whacked on a stick, and Cortland takes over.
He wanted a call there, but in the end, it's just great defense by Cortland, double teaming Erickson legally, and just forcing that turnover.
He was looking for probably a potentially slash call, as that was Wainwright carrying it up for the Red Dragons. And it's passed back down on the near side behind the net, as it's Mike Nicholson on the far side. Morris with it now. He comes in off the bench at midfield. Plays another little tic-tac-toe there with Dovey, who also came in. Excuse me, that's Zach Jones with it now. Jones back to Morris. Morris on a shot. That scores. That was a goal by Kyle Bowden. And Cortland ties it right back up at 2 with 13:47 left in the second.
Yeah, I mean, that's just devastating. You're Ithaca, you win the opening draw, have a chance to score, increase the lead, but then Cortland forces a great turnover on Jake Erickson, who's trying to find himself a shot. They go right down and score past the 40. So good response by the Red Dragons. Again, this is a really even lacrosse game, Cam. You could tell both these teams want it, and no one's gaining an advantage over the other. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of this first half progresses.
And that was the start that the Red Dragons wanted into the second period, as that was probably that was a really hot start, and that's exactly what head coach Steve Bevel was hoping for out of his team. As another face-off here tries to be won by Ithaca, but it's won by Cortland, as it was Gulick who got a little tripped up there and couldn't win the face-off. It's Thrasher with it now. Can't find the open spot, and finds Yakovone behind the net. Yakovone with it again. Cortland trying to really control the pace here on offense, as they're trying to slow it down, but then they speed it up as well on the attack.
Lots of quick substitutions too, especially while they're on offense, so it takes a lot of time off that shot clock, as there's a nice turnover.
That was an almost intercepted pass there by Billy Winters of Ithaca, and the Bombers do take over. What a great defensive play.
And give credit there, Patrick Horan got hit and was able to get the ground ball at the same time. That's just, great body control, great lacrosse IQ. He has the ball on his stick. It's Ithaca looks to rush it up.
It's Connor Brumfield with it now past midfield. He comes down low with it on the near side, tries to find a teammate, and does. It's Kyle Proctor.
Proctor, first year, getting involved a lot. He's been one of their main offensive facilitators all season.
The freshman definitely getting a lot of playing time here for the Bombers, as it's Blake Eischen with it now towards midfield, trying to find an open hole once again, but he is heavily defended, as it's Erickson who gets it from Eischen and goes right back to Eischen. Eichen's got it, looks for trying to set up a little play there, but can't find an open hole. as he passes to Brumfield, who takes over in the middle of the field. Excuse me, that's Erickson with it now. Erickson comes behind the net, trying to find an open man. Makes a little deke move, finds Eischen once again.
Well, that's great denial there by Smeater.
And there's a goal. That was a shot by Charlie Niebuhr. A beautiful shot there on the far side, right past Wagner. It's 3-2 with 12:05 left to play. What a goal.
That's just great awareness by Eischen. He gets denied by Smeater, and then instead of trying to force the shot, he goes a cross-turf pass to Niebuhr. He's able to slide it past Wagner. Ithaca keeps responding to these equalizers, but you know how they take that next step and gain more momentum? They got to get this next goal and win that face-off.
And as you look throughout the season, Ithaca plays very well in the second and third periods of their games as they take the lead here on 3-2 shot by Niebuhr. That's his 9th goal of the season as Cortland wins yet another face-off. They're just about tied Ithaca on the face-off wins. That shot is blocked right in front by Connor Kayaza. Thrasher with it towards midfield as yet again another substitution. It's Morris once again coming off on the bench.
11:42 to go left in this second quarter, so the pace is definitely a lot quicker. A little bit less defense, but we know both these teams are still capable of getting plenty of stops.
Styles with it, who got a pass from Morris. Heavily defended here once again by Liam Lennon. Again, head coach Jeff Long is trying to mix in some players, just as Steve Bevel is for Cortland. As there's a shot and a goal by Zach Jones right past the 40. Cortland ties it up once again at 3-3 with 11:16 left to go in the second.
If I had to say, I had a guess on that, I believe one of the Ithaca defenders got through LaForte's vision because that stuff in left post and LaForte was playing it pretty well. So I think his vision was just a little bit blocked there by his defenders. It's a little bit of a mishap, but once again, Cortland responds to the Ithaca lead. This is the definition of a back and forth game. 11:16 remaining here in the half. You gotta see what unfolds.
And this is the type of game that you love to see, especially, from a broadcaster's perspective, but even from, a coaching perspective. This is one of your all-time rivals. The rival goes back to 1968 as it's Chase Gulick with who won yet another face-off for the Bombers. But this is, a rivalry game for both teams and something that is definitely very much entertaining for both.
Yeah, obviously you talk about the broadcaster perspective, but think about where it comes from the Bombers. Obviously, they have not played up to the tough competition in the Liberty League. They've lost a lot of tough games. They got blown out by RIT on this turf a week ago today by 13. They blew a lead against St. Lawrence. They want this momentous win against the Red Dragons, and now obviously SUNY Cortland after a 4-0 SUNYAC start, they want to win this one as well.
That was a shot there by John Ceramic, and that went off Wagner as Cortland gets it back on a really bad pass by the Bombers.
Yeah, that was just a forced point-blank opportunity that Cortland took great advantage of. Their defense has been superb today.
Stuver had it, and it's now Pat Doyen with it, who's on the near side, takes an angle to the net, and has to force it back behind the net for Dante Iacovone. Iacovone will likely be behind the net to set up a lot of those plays, even try and come around it and score, as he tries to do it right now. But gets pushed down there, nothing called, and now we get stoppage and play.
Yeah, obviously when Iacovone came down, there was a bit of a little over-aggressiveness. I wanted to force that possession. The SUNY Cortland's called a timeout, Cam, so we'll keep going from there.
Yeah, timeout called by Cortland. It's kind of a smart one, too. You definitely try to want to take control of this game for, if you're the Bombers, too, especially. I think, you got to tighten up a little bit there on defense and take advantage of some of those offensive moments as well. There's a lot of turnovers in the first period. Not so much here. They definitely cleaned it up. But if you're the Bombers here, if you're Coach Long, what are you telling your team?
It's about execution to me because something that is noticeable on both sides. No one's gone on a 2-0 run yet. It's been back and forth, and the one who's really blown the most opportunities, it's got to be the Bombers. They have won plenty of face-offs, post-scoring a goal, and have been unable to convert. This is a Cortland defensive set that is very consistent. They don't like to manipulate or change it up at all. So I think it's probably they have to get used to it. They got to calibrate their motions and really start to beat Wagner more and more. Get shots on net. They're turning over a lot behind that crease. So if they can start getting more shots on goal, it'll lead needs an extended run besides one up.
You know, I almost consider it kind of like hockey. You know, you want to make short, clean, crisp passes, not force any turnovers, especially like in the attack and offensive zone. But Cortland's going to start out here with 10 minutes, just under 10 minutes left to go in the second period. But again, it's those crisp passes and not making as many mistakes if you're the Bombers.
Right, plenty of time.
As it's Ryan Scanlon with it now, he finds Pat Doyne on the near side behind the net. With it now, I believe is Morris, and the ball will be turned over to the Bombers.
Yeah, it was a bit of, in basketball terms, an offensive foul on the Red Dragons there, but that's a big push for Ithaca. They really haven't been forcing as many turnovers as Cortland has. I mean, that was just a dangerous pass. I'll let you describe that.
That was another bad pass there by the Bombers. It was Lowry on the near side trying to launch it all the way over to Wesley Hudkins towards the Cortland bench, and that's a pass that you cannot have. Because that's again a turnover for the Red Dragons, who now have possession.
Yeah, Lowry to Hudkins, trying to go defender to defender, but again across the entire turf. In terms of width, that's just dangerous and a turnover waiting to happen, especially when it's not necessary.
Exactly as it's number 23 it is. It's Austin Palmer on the far side. Trying to find a hole in there. Dante Ackerman was just pushed off, and there's a scramble for it as LaFourier's getting in the mix a little bit here too. And it's the Bombers who take control as a pass finds number 32. That's Liam Lennon. And the Bombers go once again back on attack. Erickson still has it. He's on the near side. And finds Winters, who passes it all the way to the far side.
Proctor and Ceramic behind the net. That's how the Bombers really like to get their offense going. Let's see if they can get some passes and chemistry going as well.
Aishin has it now. He carried it from the far side towards midfield. He tries to drive in there. He's past the Cortland player. He shoots. He scores. That was a bouncer shot right under the stick of Wagner. And Aishin makes it a 4-3 game with 8:18 left to go.
That's great for Cortland. Matt Amano and Aishin going toe-for-toe, one-on-one. Amano goes down to the turf. The turf months got him. Aishin able to bounce one past the legs of Wagner. Again, another big goal, Cam. Same recipe of this game's experience. One for the Bombers, one for the Red Dragons. And obviously Ithaca has retaken their one-goal lead. Let's see if they can finally achieve that 2-1 like we've been seeing if they're going to do this entire time.
It's Gulick once again here on the face-off. And that was a very smart play there by Aishin to take the shot when he had the open opportunity to, as Gulick wins another face-off for the Bombers, loses control there a little bit as the ball now scrambles forward towards midfield. But it's Liam Farnan who officially takes control for the Bombers.
Stick control's got to improve. So many loose balls just on this one experience in neutral zone. This is another turnover now.
That was Hunkins who lost control. Ooh, getting a little heavy right here. There's a flag on the play. It was Hunkins who pushed down a Red Dragon. That was Dominic Natalie. I think he's getting a little feisty here, I think, in Stadium.
Yeah, Wesley Hudkins, obviously lots of frustration. He's the one who turned that over, and he committed a bit of an excessive motion following the whistle. He gets the flag. We'll see what the official call is. He jogged off. He's taking a knee on the sidelines over there. And we'll see if Cortland gets a man advantage, something around those lines.
And it looks like Cortland will get a man advantage, I believe, probably for about a minute or so. We'll wait until we get the official ruling. But it looks like Cortland will definitely get the man advantage.
And, obviously, in a game that's as tight as this, you're playing Cortland, I get it. The tensions are high, but you can't be doing that, especially in the heat of the moment. Obviously, this is a game of lacrosse. There's going to be a lot of battles in that neutral zone. Ball's going to be loose a ton. Can't let the emotions get the best of you there. But I like the heart that Hudkins displayed there.
Absolutely. And it looks like it's going to be a
neutral penalty? Yeah, we got neutral. So we'll have one less penalty on each side. It'll be it's like a 4-on-4 in hockey, so to speak. It's one less player.
It's Wedley Hudkins and Dominic Natalie both getting the penalty for a minute. So we're going to have an even play here as no team gets the man advantage, but Cortland will remain in possession as it's Morris with it. Morris back at midfield. Trying to pass to Doyen, but right back to Morris. Morris once again heavily defended. He's pretty much been defended all game long as he gets pushed there by Lennon and loses control of the ball, and it's going to be Bombers possession. Carrying it up right now is Wesley Hudkins is in the penalty box.
Lowry.
It's Lowry. Carried out that ball. Thank you for correcting me, Jeremy, there. But,
I gotta say, great job by Lowry. I mean, he was gonna get, before he was gonna get beat right post, and Lowry came to his rescue and even forced an Ithaca possession. So, I mean, these defenders have, despite how great LaForte's been making all those saves, the defenders have been equally as good. Again, Cortland just 3 goals, and there's 7:04 to go in the half.
Brumfield's got it on a pass from Erickson down low. Brumfield towards midfield, travels to the far side, but gets whacked a couple of times. Now it's number 17 for the Bombers. Drew Turner tries to find an open lane. Back to Brumfield. Turner's got it now. He fires. He scores. What a goal there by Turner on another bouncer shot past Wagner. It's 5-3 again. Ithaca now taking a 2-0 lead.
Well, Cam, just like in hockey, when there are less guys on the playing field, there's going to be more room to shoot. And Drew Turner, who was victimized by a block shot earlier in this game, finds a lane, goes left, bottom left on Wagner, and there you go, Cam. Finally, a multi-goal lead for Ithaca. Let's see if they expand on it. 6:51 to go. Bombers starting to gain some momentum here. A lot of frustration with Cortland defensively, especially after they started out so well.
You know, and that's something that you like to see, especially for the Bombers, taking that frustration and turning it into a multi-goal lead now. This is the largest lead of the game for either side. It's 5-3 with 6:51 left to play here at Egan Stadium, as the faceoff is won there by Gulick, and it's Lennon trying to take control, but turns it right back over to Cortland for Pat Doyen.
Matt Amato has caused many turnovers in this game. I mean, he's been all over the place. Loves to battle in that neutral zone. Like I keep saying, I sound like a broken record, Cam, but it's true. 6:30 to go. Cortland finds themselves trying to battle back from their first multi-goal deficit of the game.
Austin Palmer has it now on the far side. And he's going to find Mike Nicholson at midfield. Right back down to Doyen, who goes behind the net with it. Coming up with it was Dovey from behind the net. And he finds Starrett towards midfield. Starr still has it, tries to find an open man towards the middle of the net, but can't, and ends up passing it behind the net, I believe, to Dovey. See, that was not Dovey, that was Pat Doyen, who had a shot off, but went all the way wide, and still going to remain Red Dragons ball, as it's going to be Dovey.
29 in the shot clock, so a little bit less time to shoot as the rewind begins. 5:48 to go in the half as well.
Towards midfield now with it, trying to carry it down behind the net, getting a shot off the post was, I believe, Starrett, who could not, it was off the crossbar. LaForte didn't really have a time to react to it, but a decent shot there by the Red Dragons as a lucky break for the Bombers.
That's the second time Cortland's been victimized by the post today.
With it now is Dovey behind the net once again. Dovey trying to find some open space to appeal around the net, but can't all the way back to midfield for Lindsay, who passes it to Yakovone. Lindsay had it right back over to Starrett. Starrett with a shot. He scores on the far side. Shot right past LaForte, and it's 5-4 with 5:12 left to go in the second period.
Well, I'll tell you something. Tyler Starrett did not start this game. He comes off as a substitution, or excuse me, comes in rather, and has been aggressive, trying to make something happen offensively, which is something that Cortland hasn't really found a player to step up and do. But that's a big goal for Starrett, really preventing this game from getting closer to getting away. 5:12 to go. It's like first half waning down a little bit. Let's see if Ithaca can, get that 2-goal lead back.
Wagner and LaForte. Wagner's got 6 saves on the day, while LaForte has 8. Meanwhile, both teams are pretty much almost tied with shots on goal. Cortland has 12 with that one, and Ithaca still 11 as Cortland wins back the faceoff yet again. Wagner with it, launches it all the way down midfield to find Palmer. But now behind the net is Yakovone. Yakovone finds Doyen on the near side. Back to Yakovone all the way down to the far side. With it now is Stiles at midfield. He holds. That's just about 4:30 left to go in the second period. 5-4. Ithaca still leads. A shot by Stiles there is off of LaForte, and it goes wide, and it's going to stay with Cortland.
Cortland getting a little more comfortable now, especially in terms of their offensive sets. They're changing something up, and it's working. LaForte facing some more pressure.
On the far side now, it's the Bombers with it now. Patrick Horan, who takes it upfield. Horan has some open space to run with it and finds Erickson towards the near side, who passes it down low to Proctor. Proctor finds Ceramic. Those three are, I don't want to say a duo, but a duo. And there's a shot by Connor Brumfield, and a beautiful goal bouncer right past Wagner, and those bouncer shots are being a massive success for the Bombers at 6-4.
Cam, poetry in motion there. Proctor across field. Ceramic, and he finds it at the top of the yard. Connor Brumfield bounces it home. 6-4 lead has returned. 3:53 to go in the half. It's all about finishing now. When there's less than 5 minutes, you gotta finish strong. Put all your effort going into the break. Let's see which team does that best here tonight.
Bombers went again with a 2-goal lead. Their second largest lead of the night, as the faceoff is still being scrambled for. It gets kicked there by Stolman, and he collects it for. Excuse me. Now the Red Dragons came up with it originally, and there's a long pass from Wagner to find Thrasher with it, and it's taken once again by the Bombers as Red Dragons could not capitalize on that pass. Some really bad passes here by both teams. There's another one yet for the Bombers. As it was Jared Sedlock, who couldn't come up with the passes. Now Cortland finally regains control and takes it. There's a shot and a goal by Doyen. That was a bouncer shot that went high, and a Bomber is hurt on the play. It looks like might be. I don't think it's Brumfield. It's
Cam, that's going to be caught. Excuse me, no. That's Farnan.
Yes.
Liam Farnan only tripped up. But going back to the goal there, that's one LaForte's going to want to have back. He goes down on the bouncer instead of staying up where the ball's going to rise, and it beats him above his head under the crossbar. So great timing, but I think the Bombers were a little too aggressive in the neutral zone there. The ball was loose. Multiple Red Dragons around the ball in comparison to one Bomber and Erickson. Erickson went for a hit there. Corwin ended up getting numbers on a rush and getting that goal. So bit of a mental mishap there, but there's still plenty of time to go in the half.
That was a goal that just got over LaForte, stick towards the top of the net, and as you said, Farnan was a little hurt on the play, but he got up just fine under his own power and ran off the field as the faceoff once again is scrambled for. Gulitz in the mix, as well as Lennon and Niebuhr. Ball is still loose, as Gulitz could not come up with it, and Cortland does. Coming up with it now. There's a shot that goes wide. That was number 33 for the Red Dragons, Clay Stuver, and that one goes wide. 2:46 left to go, 6-5 Ithaca lead. Pass from LaForte towards midfield, carrying it now is Brumfield. Brumfield finds Turner, who has a goal tonight. Proctor behind the net finds Ceramic all the way across field, and it comes right back to Savory. Savory with it at midfield, who finds Willie Wright, carries it up right now. Willie Wright with it, trying to find an open hole to attack. Can't finds Eishen, who comes up with it. Compiles back towards midfield, as it's Proctor with it now on the far side. We're going to get a whistle blown here, and Cortland's going to take over with just about 2 minutes left to go in the second period. 6-5 Ithaca.
I mean, this is a great timeout by Ithaca here. 2:06 to go. Obviously, more frustration offensively. Cortland's kind of found their defensive rhythm again. But if you're Ithaca, you want to maintain the lead going into the half. You don't want to go in with a neutral score. So really take the time here to perfect this defensive stop. Obviously, obviously the 80-second shot clock will reset, which gives them the majority of the time remaining in the half. So be perfect on defense here, or at least as perfect as possible if you believe in that or not. And then maybe try to force a turnover, try to get an ensuing rush, but the priority here has to be the stop. And Jeff Long is making sure of that right now.
Now, if you're Jeff Long, what are you telling your team, from that very quick goal there? I believe that was by Doyen of the Red Dragons. That was a shot that was very hard to save for LaForte. But what are you telling your team if you're Jeff Long, the head coach of the Bombers, to prevent that further quick comeback goal by the Red Dragons?
Well, that previous Cortland goal was because of going for a ball that was not going to be yours. I think it probably tried to create possession a little too much there, and LaForte was left with a fast break for the Red Dragons. If you're Jeff Long, you're telling your team be precise, don't make mental errors, just stick to your assignments and then go from there. But I think it was just awarded the ball at the break. It didn't look like Cortland had it, Cam. I'm 100% with you. But now I think it does take it with 31 to shoot.
Erickson with it, comes back towards midfield from the near side, passes it back to Stolman. Stolman finds Proctor behind the net. Ithaca started off with the offensive zone, Stolman still has it. He finds Turner. Turner trying to come up with it, heavily defended. I believe that was Savory, who got heavily checked there by the Red Dragons by number...
That's Matamato again. Matamato's been all over the place. He's been physical. He's been forcing turnovers. He's got to be somebody you want to avoid if you're the Bombers.
And that was a big hit there by Amato on Savory, and again a timeout by the Red Dragons. What do you do if you're the Bombers and trying to stop Amato from forcing you to turn over the ball?
You got to get the ball away from him. Like we alluded to at the top of the show, Cam, there's so many great offensive attackers and offensive scorers from the midfield when you're the Bombers. And Amato's one guy. As quick as he is and as aggressive as he is, he can't be everywhere in the field at once. Just get the ball away from him. You got to trust your other guys here. The Ericksons and the Ishins, obviously, Amato's going to want to key on those guys. But surrounding somebody who's yet to get involved too much, Kyle Proctor too. So it's about trying to get those guys some looks who have not gotten them yet today. All these Ithaca goals have come from well beyond the crease.
Very tight game here at Higgins Stadium. It's 6-5. Ithaca still leads by 1 with about 1:25 left to go in the second period. Cortland still in their timeout huddle as the Bombers look to get back on the field. And the Bombers defense, especially LaForty, has come up huge for the Bombers, making a lot of key saves. This game could either be tied right now or it could be a Cortland lead.
Yeah, definitely. And Ryan LaForty, as much as we're bashing the Bombers right now for their turnovers, LaForty's been sensational. 9 saves on 14 shots, and that's really good in the sport of lacrosse. Wagner has just been tested 12 times. He's 6 for 12. So both goalies have played some solid games today, but LaForty definitely gets the gold star in terms of early performance.
That's right, Cortland has the ball now. It's Doyen once again, who finds Yakavon behind the net and passes it all the way to the far side for Dovey. Dovey back out to midfield for Morris. Morris has it once again after a pass to Stiles. Morris with it finds Stiles back again up top at midfield. Fires across and a goal. Cortland just tied it up. That's Zach Jones with the second of the night. It is 6-6 with just under a minute left to play in the second period. A beautiful shot there by Jones, past LaForty.
I mean, this is the beautiful shot fake by Jones there. He looks like he's going to shoot it high and then bends his knees and goes low. LaForty really didn't know where he wanted to make his stance, and that hesitancy resulted in the goal. Now, if you're the Bombers, again, you want to go in the half of the lead. It's still possible, but you got to ensure that no further damage is done, regardless of what side you're on after this face-off.
We get set for another face-off as Chase Gulick is in the circle once again. There's a scramble for it, and Cortland's likely to come up with it again, and we're going to get a stoppage in play, but Cortland will be turned over to the Bombers on that play. It's Jared Sedlock coming up with it now.
And if you're the Bombers, if you want 43 seconds to go, 71 seconds on the shot clock, you can hold for a final shot if you like, if you want to avoid Cortland getting any more possessions.
As Brumfield had it at midfield, he hands it off to Eischen. Eischen still holds. Again, I think that's what they might be doing. That's the strategy here. Is they're there's less than 30 seconds on the shot clock now, 25 seconds. It looks like they're waiting to get that prime opportunity to go up by 1 at the half as Eischen tries to get pushed back a little bit, but ends up escaping, getting tripped up there by the Red Dragons, and a turnover for the Red Dragons. That was Amato once again. Has to be his 5th turnover as that shot went wide from Amato, and it's going to stay with Cortland.
It looked like Amato made some contact with around the head of Eischen there. I mean, that was a little dangerous. A little bit shocked they let that go. Nonetheless, though, the one-man show did not work on that final attempt. 7 seconds for Cortland to score.
Cortland looking to take the lead at the half as there's a shot by Dovin that went wide, and just 2 seconds left as the clock will stop, but Cortland still has the ball as Yakavon will take it in.
And we'll see what goes on here.
Yakavon trying to find... That was number 66, Jacob Rivers, but that will do it for the half. It is tied at 6 as we go into the third. We're going to send it to the halftime reporters in Blake Katzman and Alice Chaprout, as you're listening to the Bombers Radio Network. It's tied here at Higgins Stadium.
At VIC, the voice of Ithaca College, we prioritize diversity and inclusion. We are working to ensure that more voices are heard. We support and will continue to support the Black Lives Matter movement and victims of police brutality and racial injustice. We've heard you.
You guys sir.
Support you. We must advocate for change. Black Lives Matter.
Is your playlist getting old? Want to catch up with your favorite new artists? Or do you just need a music redo? Tune into the New Music Show, Tuesdays at 7.
Yes, sir.
For more about what makes up the best of what's next. Hear DJ T delve into the station's newest sounds with interviews from the artists featured on the stations. Only on...
One more and then you guys will go on. Take it to 2.5 minutes on the clock.
At VIC, the voice of Ithaca College, we prioritize diversity and inclusion. We are working to ensure that more voices are heard. We support
and will continue to support the Black Lives
10 on the promo, and then you guys will take it until 2.5 on the clock, and then you'll wrap, okay?
We've heard you. We support.
We're on a bet, I'll count you in.
Advocate
for change. Black Lives Matter.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take it.
We got a Cortland matchup here at Higgins Stadium. I'm here with Blake Hatzman alongside Alex Chipper. Now, Alex, it's been a really tight game. What have you seen that's been really stand out?
I mean, obviously, this is a very, very big rivalry matchup for both these teams. These teams know each other very, very well. However, we have seen a lot of physical play from both of these teams, a lot of rough fouls and a lot of penalties. Also, quite a lot of turnovers. This game has been very, very sloppy so far, with 11 turnovers for the Bombers and 6 for the Red Dragons so far in this first half.
Absolutely, Alex. But I think something to highlight is the amazing goaltending on both sides. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, Ryan Laforte has been absolutely amazing for the Bombers so far. He has 9 saves so far in this game, and Travis Wagner for the Red Dragons has also been solid in goal with 6 saves in this first half.
Absolutely, Alex. And I mean, another big highlight point is the amazing defense on both sides. Now, Alex, how has that really stood out to you, especially as, you know, it's been a huge part on why this game is so tight?
I mean, really, it's been, for the Bombers, it's been Dimitri Lowry and Wesley Hudkins. They have been blocking shot lanes and really making it hard for the Red Dragons to find open shooting lanes to get to Ryan Laforte and to really make the Dragons work for their goals so far.
Absolutely, Alex. Now, there's not been too much goal scoring here, but how do you really see how Ithaca or Cortland can really get ahead here?
I think it's really up to Ithaca. I mean, they have had twice in the second period, they had a 2-goal lead over Cortland and then allowed Cortland to get back and bring it back to a tied game at the end of the second quarter. And I really do believe that Ithaca needs to take it right out of this second half, get a goal, and try and build some momentum, and really try and get a multiple goal lead in order to try and come away with the win in this game.
Absolutely, Alex. Totally agree with you on that. But of course, something you've also got to mention, you know, what are the key mistakes, you know, Cortland's made? I mean, they've definitely made a couple mistakes here and there. What do you really see from that?
I think the Red Dragons so far have played a sloppy game. They have allowed a lot of turnovers, and they have also just really had a lot of ground balls, which has been sloppy play and led to their turnovers. And I really think as long as they clean that up, they can definitely take advantage of that and sort of build some momentum of their own. A player to highlight for them so far is definitely their leading goal scorer, Zach Jones, who scored 2 in the second quarter of this game.
Absolutely, Alex. So, I mean, other than that, you know, is there anything else that really stands out?
I really think it's been just sort of the back and forth nature of this game. It sort of seems like every time a team took an advantage, it was the other team answered right away with a goal of their own. Ithaca had a 1-goal lead, and then Cortland would tie it up, and then Cortland would take the lead, and Ithaca would tie it up. It's been such a back and forth matchup so far. It's been such an entertaining game to watch.
Absolutely, Alex. Well, I mean, that's all really I can think about. I mean, this has been a great halftime show, man. So we're going to send it out for a little break, and we'll be right back with Jeremy Goldstein and Cam Gasman.
La la la. I love to ride and feel the wind through my hair. Hey kid, wear a helmet! No way, Grandpa, because then I'm looking like an idiot. The majority of bicycle deaths are due to head injuries. Helmets reduce the odds of a head injury by 50%. Don't be a dummy. Wear a helmet.
Tune in to Mind the Gap, a show where DJ Redlight and I fight about our music.
Tune in 6 to 8 Sunday nights here on VIC Radio.
I'm getting a catcher's mitt.
I'm getting ice skates.
I'm getting a jigsaw puzzle. I'm getting dying coral reefs. You
guys on?
Yeah, I'm on. I don't know what happened there, but...
Okay, how much time?
4:32, but I will take this with Cam until it's over.
I'll give you guys 2 more ads. You guys go, and then if you need another break before you come back on for the second half, just tag out. I'll be paying attention.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, don't worry. We got it.
All right. I'll take a bet after this, and then you guys go, okay?
Brought to you by Environmental Defense, the Robertson Foundation, and the Ad Council.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, take it.
Ithaca, SUNY Cortland men's lacrosse action here for you on VIC Radio. Cam Gassman alongside me. I'm Jeremy Goldstein. Cam, we got a 6-6 game, about 3:50 left on the halftime clock, and this has been a game that's gone pace for pace. These teams are right on par with each other. Nobody gaining a true advantage. What are your early readings based on what you analyzed here in this first half?
Well, Ithaca's got to take advantage of some of those miscues that happened by Cortland. They had a lot of turnovers there in the first period, and Ithaca really did not take advantage of it. The largest lead was by 2 goals, and that has got to be more, especially off some of those mistakes, those little mistakes that Cortland is making, and even some of the mistakes that Ithaca is making as well. They've had some really bad passes, some long passes that is not really their style of gameplay. They like the short, crisp passes. So, I guess sometimes when you have an open 52, you like to have some long passes to try and set up a play there. But if you're on the attack, you really got to make some short, crisp passes, trying to find some of those open lanes and get the shot off as you can. I know it was Turner who had an open lane towards the side of the net that got a really good shot off for a goal on the year, for a goal in this game. But if you're there, you really want to try and make some of those opportunities happen and take advantage of some of those open holes and get the shot off.
Cam, we got to highlight some of the players who have stood out, especially in the first half, because that's what we've seen so far. Matt Amato, we expected to see a lot of Cortland offense, but Ithaca has been really dominating time of possession. But when you look at Matt Amato, somebody who's been, stat sheet stuffer defensively, 3 ground balls picked up, as well as 3 caused turnovers. So how important has he been to Cortland's pace of this game and preventing any bomber lead that's taking place from extending?
Extremely important. As you saw to end the half there, he had a massive hit. I believe it was on Lowry to give up the ball, but he had a massive hit there, and I think he even injured one of the bombers. I believe it was number 8, Farnon, in the middle of the net, but he's had a massive impact on this game so far. As you mentioned, those turnovers are huge for the Red Dragons as they like to set up some of that offensive attack time in the zone. That's really been their key so far to this game, and it's likely to be even a bigger factor as the game is tied at 6 apiece as Cortland goes into the second half here. And again, that's likely to be their biggest factor as they go in, and Amato will continue to be that big factor for Cortland making those turnovers.
Can we talk so much about how important this Ithaca offense is and how great they've been through the course of the season, especially at the beginning. But when you look at the stat sheet, the 2 guys who play behind the net, John Ceramic and Kyle Proctor, the sophomore and first-year players, just 1 shot combined, no points total. What do you make of that?
Well, Ceramic has got to get it going a little bit. They've got to get him some of those open looks towards the net. They've gotten some of the guys like Drew Turner some looks as well, and even Erickson has scored, I believe, 1 or 2 on the night so far. But John Ceramic, he leads the team in goals, and he is the biggest scorer for the Bombers this season. So they've got to get him going, get him some open looks towards the net, and really get him going, because once he scores at least 1, expect at least a couple more from him in this game to really get him going.
You talk about they have to get him going if it does, especially because Cortland's done a great job pressuring, especially behind that circle. But obviously the question I have to ask you is how, because we talk about so much about Cortland's intensity, their aggressiveness. What is the best way for the Ithaca offense to beat that, so to speak?
I kind of think about it a little bit like basketball. They try something like a triangle sort of a play towards the front net, especially like in the slot area, maybe even towards the crease. You really want to have some attackers on the outside of like the arc area, some attackers towards midfield to draw in some of those attackers once again towards the crease area to really get Ceramic to score a goal here.
Well, we are about to get underway here in the third quarter. And Jeremy Goldstein and Cam Gassmer. As the third quarter face-off is dropped. They're the loose ball in front, but it is picked up by O'Brien of the Red Dragons. Cortland going right to left to start the third. I think I'm playing defense, and they will play offense left to right. Cortland working it behind the net as Dovey makes the catch. The attacker who started this game back on the turf. Cortland looking for their first lead of the contest. They just neutralized the game. They're on a bit of a 2-0 run right now. They extend that to 3-0. Again, they'll take a 7-6 lead to the first of the game.
And another thing that we kind of overlooked here before opening this half was the importance of face-offs. You know, the Red Dragons just won this face-off to start the third period. But face-offs are really key here for the Bombers if you want to win this game.
Troy Morris, who picked up a couple points in the first half, dishes it back to a teammate, and Cortland looks again behind the net for Dovey. Dominic Yakavone. Wrapping right post. Goes behind the circle, gets pressured by some Bombers defense, though again throws one back. A check by Hudkins. And Cortland still maintains possession. 15 on the timer, 13:47 to go in the third. Yakavone centering try and rang it off the crossbar. Cortland retrieves it back, and a great denial ball of 40 to prevent the shot.
You know, I'm surprised on the play before this there was an open shot there on the far side of the net that was not taken by Cortland, and I'm surprised they didn't take that shot. That was a missed opportunity for the Red Dragons.
Zach Jones rushes it ahead, dishes it back behind the net for Nicholson. Now Dovey. In the stick of Troy Morris now, working up that yellow and blue line. Once again, finds a teammate in Styles. Styles, lefty shot, save, stick with 40. Ryan LaForte again continues to be sharp, and Ithaca takes over.
You know, the Bombers needed LaForte to be sharp in this game, and he definitely is coming up big with a nice little save there. Stick side. That's sort of like an easier save, I guess, quote unquote, for LaForte, is that one right into the pocket of a stick, but LaForte coming up big once again for the Bombers.
The ensuing rush begins as the stick of John Ceramic has the ball right now, dishes it off to the left for Proctor at the turf. If they can make some substitutions, they get their offensive midfield on. Proctor trying to dance around the Cortland defender, trying to create some space, now goes all the way back. For Charlie Niebuhr, another goal scorer for Ithaca today, trying to extend the tie game and get a lead. Now Jake Erickson working behind the net. Going towards that right post, trying to get a shot off on right, and he scores! Finding nylon, Jake Erickson is second of the game, 7-6, IC takes the lead.
What a really great goal there by Erickson. He fell down and shot that towards the top of the net, just under the crossbar. Amazing how he got that shot off. You know, and one thing too, the Bombers spending a lot of time in the offensive zone, which is a key factor for them going forward. They take the lead at 7-6, but a great goal there by Erickson as he fell down and still got the shot off just under the crossbar.
He was able to wrap around that right post. He did fall on his knees like you mentioned, Cam, but able to stay stable and fire it past Wagner. For his second goal of the game, Ithaca wins the draw as it's McEnroe starting it off for IC. Again, offensive midfield comes on for the Bombers following the face-off win, and now John Ceramic catches it on the right side. Again, Bombers working left to right. Kyle Proctor now behind that right line from the interior of the net.
You know, the more time you spend on offense and in the attacking zone, the more tired the opposing team's defense gets. So that's a really a key factor here for the Bombers. They're spending a lot of time on the offense.
Really right rushes in. Great job by O'Brien of the Red Dragons to stop it. Drew Turner now. He scored a goal today. I should have shot rang it wide. 35 on the timer though. Ithaca takes over as Ceramic scoops up a new ball as possession reigns on. 33 to shoot now, 11:29 to go in the third quarter. Ceramic didn't have the angle, they just sit back out to right.
That's a shot there by Kyle Savory. Got a phenomenal shot off towards midfield. Again, he had that open space to get the shot off.
Savory involved a lot on offense back in the first half. Didn't find much success, but his run time has been effective for Jeff Long's Bombers. Now here's Savory once again going in. Passes it behind the net for Erickson. Erickson, a bit of a twirl. Lost the ball, but somehow retains a great stick control. And I believe we have a turnover as Cortland now will take over.
Yeah, another bad turnover there by the Bombers, but they get the ball back on a misplay by Cortland. Some bad passes early on for the Red Dragons, and an early opportunity here once again for the Bombers.
Ceramic showing his defensive prowess, getting in the passing lane there. 10:41 to go in this third quarter. Ithaca with a 7-6 lead.
Again, the Bombers are spending a lot of time in the offensive zone. I bet you the Red Dragons defense is extremely tired. They want a little bit of a break here to get back on the offense.
Brumfield shot just bounced it wide. The grad student trying to get going himself. Ithaca will keep it. And Erickson scoops up a new ball. 56 to shoot, 10:28 to go here in the third.
And that was a great adjustment by Coach Long during that halftime, as the Bombers are taking a lot of shots here to start the third period. They're getting a lot of open looks, which is huge to take an even bigger lead than by 2 goals here. But the Bombers are getting a lot of shots off, and they're getting a lot of open spaces.
Brumfield dishes for Turner. If they lead 7-6 in a game where Cortland has never led. Lots of tie games, but Ithaca has always found the advantage once the game gets neutralized. And there's another Bomber turnover, Cam. The cross-turf pass unsuccessful once again.
That looked potentially like a shot, but it was likely intended for a pass. Again, they got to be careful here, especially in their own offensive zone as the Bombers get the ball back once again.
Another loose one. Turner finds to find Erickson point blank, but it's deflected by our Red Dragon. Wagner going behind his own net, trying to get the ball on his stick. But the possession awarded to Ithaca, so Wagner retreats back to his crease.
One of the rules when the ball goes out of play is whoever shot the ball will likely get the ball back, as one of their teammates is likely to be closer to it. However, in that case, the ball went off of Wagner, so the Bombers get the ball back.
I think he'll get some substitutions on there. Charlie Niebuhr back on the turf, trying to get his second tally of the night. Niebuhr attacks right post, finds it back behind to Erickson. Erickson now going on his non-dominant right side. Finding Brumfield back to the top for Aisha, and Aisha looks to work one-on-one into a sea of red and white. Aisha going left circle, throws one over, back to Erickson. Now a shot by Brumfield. Oh, he faked it. Went back to Erickson behind the post. Trying to wrap around. Didn't have the angle again. 30 on the timer. Ithaca looks to reset it back to Niebuhr up top. Niebuhr once again attacking left. Dishes it off for Aisha. Aisha faked the long ranger. Now goes in. Finds Brumfield. Shot. Just went it wide past the right post. 17 to shoot. Ithaca still has it. Erickson is closest.
That was a nice shot there by Brumfield. Unfortunately, it did go wide, but Ithaca still has possession of the ball.
Gotta work quickly. 12 to shoot. Aishin to his right for Niebuhr. Niebuhr to John Ceramic. The sophomore finds Proctor a shot, and a nice save by Wagner up high, and Cortland will take it back.
Again, they're trying to get Ceramic there. It looked like he might have had an open look to shoot. We've gotten one of his first shots off on the game, but he passed to a teammate to get an even better look on the far side of the post, but it was a nice save there by Wagner.
Kyle Bonin commences the ensuing rush as Cortland looks to get their offense in motion. 60 to shoot, 8:13 to go here in the third quarter. Jeremy Golson, Ken Gosmer on hand. Here from Ithaca Men's Lacrosse on VIC Radio.
Ithaca is holding a very slight lead right now, 7-6 still. They've had some opportunities in their offensive zone. They spent a majority of this period already in the offensive zone, but now they're getting some time on defense, and Cortland is going to go on the attack again. They're spending a lot of time in the offensive zone, each team, as that is a major factor here in this very close game.
Force Cortland to the ground, obviously. Here Cortland's going to keep it. 32 to shoot, 7:46 as the clock winds once again. Here's Stiles trying to get by a couple defenders, but has to pass it back out. Cortland working out behind the net. And a shot by the 40, they score. Credit Dovey. Chris Dovey, the attacker, finally getting in the score column. That was his fourth shot of the game, first one on goal. Finally converts, and Cortland has equalized this game once again.
That's Dovey's 10th goal on the season. Cortland, as you said, Jeremy, just tied it up at 7. Just 7:32 left to go in the third, and now a great shot right past LaFoy. I believe that was on the stick side, the far post from us. But a great shot, had a slight open look, but took advantage of it, and right past LaFoy. Game is tied once again.
Draw control, fight for possession, and it will favor Cortland and Cam as this game intensifies. I will say it is getting a little darker here on the South Hill. The lights playing a lot more of an effect. You kind of like that action?
Yeah, and, as a broadcaster, I love a night game. A lot of fans here still on the night. Some students are coming here to support the Bombers as well, as this is the Cortica of lacrosse, and it's definitely living up to its hype. 7-7, game tied once again.
Yep, spring sports are here, finally getting back into the outdoor action and living up to it with the lights. Here at Higgins Stadium, 7-7, 6:58 to go in the third. Here's Scanlon for Cortland, trying to get a shot through that was deflected in front. Cortland will keep it. 60 on the timer, so plenty of time to reset. 6:53 to go in the third. Again, 7-7 your score. Cortland has never led.
Yeah, it looked like LaForte got a piece of that last shot there as it went all the way wide here to the near side towards us here up in the press box. But LaForte definitely, I think, got a little piece of that on that bouncer shot.
Chris Dovey dishes for Sterling. I don't know what happened there. I'd say probably a mile over the crossbar. Cortland does keep it, though. 43 to shoot.
I think that was a shot that was deflected off of the stick of Jared Sentlock for the Bombers. Great defensive play.
Ball was loose there. Starrett picks it up, tried to shoot one. It went wide again. And Cortland will pick it up. Great, intense, aggressive defense by the Bombers here. Desperate, to say the least. 6:26 to go now in the third. 31 in the timer for the Red Dragons.
The Red Dragons are looking to take their first lead of the game. Again, they're spending a lot of time in the offensive zone, tiring that Ithaca defense out.
Hudkins forces a loose ball there on the Ithaca end, and it's going to be picked up by a Bomber, and rushing it ahead for Ithaca on that left post as a flag is on. The flag has been thrown to a delayed penalty on Cortland. Let's see if Ithaca can get advantage. They score! John Ceramic on the delayed call. Ithaca back in front, 8-7 to score.
They finally gave John Ceramic that open look towards the near side. He fired that shot right past Wagner towards the near post. That looked like it was stick side, right under the stick. Might have been a bounce shot or just a straight clean shot, but that was a beauty from Ceramic. That's his first goal on the night and gives the Bombers the lead once again. It's 8-7.
Okay, we're up here in the A&E press box. Some tough was going on that far left sideline. Before we can break, the ball's on John Ceramic's stick. A flag has been thrown, and then all of a sudden the ball is gone and hit nylon past the goalie Wagner. Ithaca again finding that goal after the game has been tied. Cortland still has never led. Ithaca again up 8-7, 6:02 to go in the third. Just chaos unfolding here at Higgins.
And that was a little bit of a breakdown, I believe, of the Cortland defense. I think they thought the ball was towards the far side, but again, you might say there was a scrummage before that John Ceramic quick goal. But a breakdown of the Cortland defense gave Ithaca a really good shot to get Ceramic open, and it's taking 8-7 lead.
Another scuffle along that far left sideline, and we'll see who the referee awards possession to. So hard to get a good viewpoint. And it looks like it's the Red Dragons looking to get an on-swing rush underway with 5:50 to go in the third, trying to once again tie this ball game like they've done successfully so many times. Sorry, Jim, go.
No, I was looking at a little bit there at the Cortland bench there, and then they're trying to distract some of the Bombers' defense, but the Bombers are doing a great job of not letting that get to their heads and defending the Red Dragons.
Here is Dovey behind the net. What is actually a man advantage for the Bombers. So after that delayed call, penalty still awarded to Ithaca. Unfortunately, they're unable to convert on that. The penalty was charged to Palmer. Again, that was that flag on the far left side prior to the Ceramic goal. 5:10 to go now in the third. Cortland really waiting for this time to unfold. 5 seconds left. Short-handed for the Red Dragons. That clock is up. We're back to full strength. 5 minutes to go now in the third. Behind the net, it's Troy Morris. Waiting for a cut of some sorts as Ithaca gets ready to play defense. Morris cuts front side, trying to throw it in front. Ball around, loose at the circle. And it's picked up by Cortland again. Great loose ball effort. It's taken by Zach Jones, who has 2 goals saved. That leads Cortland. Ball loose again, and the shot clock winds down. The buzzer sounds. Ithaca will take over up by 1.
There was a shot there by Doyen of the Red Dragons. However, it was blocked in front by Jack DeRocco of the Bombers. A great defensive play by the Bombers to once again block that shot and, protect almost the 40 there as John Ceramic has the ball once again.
Ithaca will try to match their largest lead of 2 goals with 4:23 to go here in third quarter time.
About 4:17 left to go. It's 8-7. Ithaca still here as the Ithaca go once again on the offensive attack. They're spending a lot of time, as I said, over and over again. Pretty much this period, they spent a lot of time in the offensive zone, and that proved to be a big factor here.
Eishen looking to facilitate at the top of the circle. Finds Brumfield a shot that bounced wide left side. Ithaca takes over once again. Erickson was closest to the ball once it left the field of play.
Great strategy there by Brumfield, I believe that was, to get that bounce shot off. That bounce shot has beaten Wagner pretty much all game. They've scored 7 of their 8 goals on that bounce shot today. So they're taking advantage of...
Eishen to charge, they score! Sorry to interrupt. No. You can't break. Eishen out of nowhere charges through the Red Dragon defense. It is 9-7 IC.
Again, that bounce shot, as I was saying before, 8 goals now on the bounce shot, beating Wagner of the Red Dragons. That shot has been a huge difficulty for Wagner to save, but the Bombers taking advantage of that slight weakness, finding that open hole, and getting the bounce shot off, 9-7.
So after it looked like Cortland was going to take over, they had the ball tie game, ready to take their first lead. Ithaca has matched their largest lead at 2 goals. And they win the face-off once again. Now Ceramic, Ithaca wants to get set again. The first year, Kyle Proctor looking to get involved himself, tries to get closer to that left post, getting distracted by defense. The ball is loose. On the floor, it's taken back by Cortland. Proctor's a little unaware of the ensuing defense.
Yeah, Proctor thought he had an open look there, but did not realize that there were 3 Red Dragons breathing down his neck from his backside, but he thought he had an open look right towards into the crease area to get the shot up, but was not able to and lost the ball. And now it's Red Dragons with possession here with just over 3 minutes to go.
Chris Dovey in the neutral zone looking to commence some sort of play. He dishes off to Dorian to his right. As some substitutions will be made for the Red Dragons. 48 on the timer, 2:53 to go in the third quarter. Ithaca 9, Cortland 7, now Dovey. Going back for Troy Morris. And Cortland taking their sweet time on this possession. 35 to shoot, so plenty of time to do it.
And Cortland's getting a lot of offensive looks, trying to get into the crease area where they've beaten the 40 pretty much all game long. They haven't had a lot of opportunities to shoot from mid-range or even from far range.
A bouncer by Dorian. He goes wide of the diving of 40. Again, Cortland will take over. 18 seconds left on the timer to shoot. They got to work a little quickly with 2:24 to go in the third period. Dorian behind the net. Now 12 to shoot. Going right post on the wraparound. Finds a cutting Morris ball on the turf. Dorian now picks it up again. 3 to shoot. Here's a desperation heave, and it won't even happen. A shot clock violation for Cortland. Ithaca takes over, 2:06 remaining here in the third quarter.
You know, as I was saying before, if you look at all the shots that Cortland has taken so far, they've all been from either mid-range or very close to the 40 in the crease area. The Bombers' defense has not allowed Cortland to get a shot off from far range, even towards midfield, as the Bombers have scored a couple of their goals from that distance, but a lot of close bouncer shots and even some clean shots very close to the net.
Ithaca looking for a strong final push in the third quarter with less than 2 minutes to go. The strongest attack out there for Jeff Long's Bombers as Brumfield takes it and begins the rush. Looks to facilitate. Brumfield doesn't have a man, now goes back behind the net for Erickson. Now Proctor working behind the circle now. Finds Blake Eishin, who had no one in front of him, now finds 2 Red Dragons facing pressure. A shot on Wagner. Goes wide left side. Erickson again will continue the possession. He's scooping up a new ball. 36 to shoot, 1:20 to go in the third.
Eishin's done a phenomenal job so far in this game for the Bombers. Really all game. He's been all over the field, setting up a lot of offensive plays.
Down goes Niebuhr. He somehow kept the ball in his stick. Now finds Erickson driving, wrap around right post. Can't get a shot off. Gets harassed in front of the net. Tried to find a cutter. And the shot by Ceramic was saved by Wagner. 12 to shoot now. Ceramic gets hit. And Cortland possession, as they say, Ceramic fell out of bounds. Just a rough break there. Ithaca cannot extend the lead to 3.
I think the call there was Ceramic fell before he got hit. It definitely looks like, at least from up here, that he got hit as he fell.
Yeah.
But the ref was closer than we are, and Ceramic did ultimately fall before he got hit.
Some pressure by Proctor on Wagner, trying to outwit the pass into the neutral zone, but nonetheless, Cortland takes it. 63 to shoot, 37 to left in the third, so shot clock unaffected right now. Cortland looking to narrow the deficit to 1 as we get ready for the final quarter of play here at Higgins Stadium. Here's Scanlon for Cortland, running it in. Inside the circle now, here's Dovey. Finding Palmer. Palmer across to his right. For Yakovone. Dominic Yakovone, a rough shoot. He shot non-dominant backhand save. Viola 40 with 8 seconds to go.
Bombers are really protecting the 40, not letting anybody get close to him, basically, to get a shot off.
A long-range pass by Leslie Hudkins, sailed all the way out of bounds, past the goal. 0.6 to go, so Cortland will just send it into play, and that will do it. Cam, after this game was tied after a strong finish by Cortland of the half. Ithaca responded, outscoring Cortland 3-1 this quarter. What are the positives you take away on both sides?
Well, speaking of the positives, especially for Ithaca, I think I was saying it before, but Blake Eischen, keep him in this game. He has been a massive positive for the Bombers, setting up a lot of the plays on the offense, getting a lot of really good shots off for the Bombers from long range too, but also the Bombers are really taking advantage of Wagner's weak spot in those down shots. That's how they're scoring the majority of their goals, except for John Ceramic, who had just an absolute laser for his first goal of this game. But for me, it's got to be Blake Eischen and those bouncer shots for the Bombers. But then looking over at Cortland, they spent, after being a lot of time on defense, they spent a lot of time on the offensive zone, tiring out that Ithaca defense. So going into the fourth quarter with an Ithaca lead by 9-7, if I'm Coach Steve Bevel, I'm telling my team to really spend a lot of time in that offensive zone by winning the face-offs, gaining control of the ball, nice clean passes, as we said pretty much all game before, and tightening up on the offense, spending a lot of time in their zone once again. That's really going to be the deciding factor here for the Red Dragons.
Again, Jeff Long, his Bombers, they did beat Skidmore 11-8 this past weekend, but lots of tough losses for this crew. Blowing the lead to the top 25 ranked St. Louis, and that was a big Liberty League blow. Welcoming the defending champion RIT Tigers to Higgins last Wednesday at this time, getting blown out in the process 19-6. This team in desperation of a momentum boost against a good opponent. And SUNY Cortland, who is riding high, 4-0 in the SUNYAC. This would be a great win and a great boost heading towards the end of the regular season for the Bombers as they try to seed higher, trying to get that third spot in the Liberty League. They got to play 15 more minutes of strong lacrosse, though. Fight for the ball off the face-off, and a flag is thrown. Stuffle for it. Many guys going down to the ground. Cortland takes it, though. Cortland now moving left to right like they did to start this game. With 14:34 to go, the pass by Cortland was intercepted by a Bomber. It was Liam Falling, but nonetheless, the penalty flag was thrown, so Ithaca will be a man short, up by 2, 14:32 to go in this game.
Yeah, that's a bad penalty to take it for the Bombers, especially in this very close game. They played phenomenal pretty much all game long. I believe it's going to be probably a 30-second man down or man up advantage for the Red Dragons. But that is something, a minute now, so the Red Dragons now have a minute man up advantage on the Bombers to really take it, decrease their deficit by 1, try and make it 9-8. But if you're the Bombers, it's a bad penalty to take as this game is very, very tight.
Right. So a minute to go on the man advantage for Cortland. Obviously, like you said, Ken, the man up. And let's see if they take it. It was a slashing call on Liam Farnan. He will sit for a minute.
And you consider that, like in hockey, kind of a dumb, quote-unquote, for lack of a better word, penalty, but in lacrosse, too, that's not a great penalty to take on a slash, especially in a tight game like this.
Shot by Zach Jones, who scored! Centering try, and Cortland narrows the deficit to 1. Quickly on the man-up cam, they take advantage.
As I said before, Cortland came out of the third period trying to take advantage of those little mistakes, and that penalty by Farnan, that small slashing call, really costed them here, as it's now a 9-8 game. Cortland once again trying to crawl back here to tie it, as it is 9-8 with 14:10 left to go, but that little penalty by the Bombers, it could end up costing them.
Face off in the circle. Kulik almost had it. Again, penalty time is no more as Cortland did score, and now they have a chance to tie the game. Here's Rivers rushing it up for Cortland to the far back left for Yakovo.
It's such a kind of small part of the game, but if you really look at it closely and analyze it, it is a major factor in winning those face-offs. Each team has pretty much been tied all game, as Ithaca's won 9 of 19, while Cortland just won 10 of 19 off that last face-off. But, each team really trying to get the better of those draws to get on the offensive attack.
Here's Troy Morris looking to create something. To Yakovo, behind the net. And a shot in front of a 40. Someone got a piece of it in front on the defense. Cortland will keep it there. They had 2 guys closer than the closest Bomber.
Cortland spending a lot of time here in the offensive zone to start this fourth period.
Yeah, they're taking their time.
And that's something that I'd be very happy with if I'm head coach Steve Beville, and something that I wouldn't be too happy with if I'm Coach Jeff Long for the Bombers.
Durant tries to find a centering try, they score! It's Dominic Yagamone finishing in front, his first goal of the game, and Cam, we got packed tied at 9 apiece.
That mistake there by the Bombers ended up costing them, as I've said, there was 9-7 just about a minute ago, and now Cortland has tied it up yet again. I believe that's probably like at least the fifth time this game they've tied it up. But that little penalty there by Farnan ended up costing the Bombers. It is now a tie game with just under 13 minutes to go.
Ithaca had a strong finish to the third, and just like that, Cortland is equalized, and they have the ball here. They can take their first lead of the game with a goal. A shot by Rivers, save, a deflection in front, prevented them from getting anything done, but Dovey picks it up for Cortland, and they have 57 seconds to get another shot off. 12:33 to go in the fourth. Again, if you're just joining us, Ithaca has led all game, but they've never had a lead more than two. We're 9-9 right now after Cortland has outscored the Bombers 2-2 in the first 3 minutes of the fourth.
You know, and you really hope if you're Coach Jeff Lundley, your team really does not fall apart here. Remember the fundamentals of lacrosse, play tight defense, and really try and stop this Red Dragons offensive attack here. They're spending a lot of time in the zone, as we pretty much said all throughout the second half. But, you know, you really want to try and maintain that tight defense. You know you're going to get tired, but really try and maintain this defense and stop them from getting close to the net.
Morris finds a cunning Yakavona shot. A nice sliding save up 40. The rebound try was stuffed out. The 40 coming up when he's needed most. Ithaca takes over once again. And Zach Jones' cam has been all over for Cortland. 5 goals for the attacker. As Ithaca almost turns it over here, Proctor takes it into his zone, falls down, throws it on the ground where it's picked up by Horan. Great reaction by the defender. And now Ithaca's
teammates were a lucky bouncer and a lucky break there for Proctor. But you know, you also want to say it's kind of like a smart IQ play, is to know your surroundings and try and know where your teammates are. As he was lucky enough to get one of his teammates to grab that loose ball.
Here comes Aishin the on-swing rush and a foot save by Wagner. I believe he got the right foot out and deflects it out of play. 36 to shoot, 11:07 to go in regulation. Here's Jake Erickson. He's got a couple goals for himself on the day. He's working it behind the net right now in a one-on-one match. Goes behind the yellow and blue line, where Connor Brumfeld, the grad student, takes over. Now hands it off for Aishin, who looks to facilitate. Going to the circle. Now finding Brentfield moving to the right side. Gets double, doesn't have the angle to shoot. Now finds Erickson back behind the net. Goes to Kyle Proctor. Fails his way around the defender. Now shoots and a save by Wagner. A hit from behind by Proctor and another penalty flag. That's just unnecessary aggressiveness by the first year. And Cortland has it, but once the Ithaca Bomber gets it in their stick, we will have another penalty. For now, it's a delay.
Again, a potential costly mistake there by Kyle Proctor. We saw that was pretty much a cross check from behind, as Cortland will have a man-up advantage.
And then just another example of emotions getting the best of them. We saw that with Hudkins earlier today in the neutral penalty, but this one will favor Cortland. As Proctor shoved the defender from behind. Cortland midfielders play catch behind the yellow and blue line. Here we go. Here's Palmer. Dishes it back out. And here comes the rush. Scanlon tries to get a shot on the 40, a rebound, they score! Cortland's first lead of the game on the delayed penalty call. And everything collapsing here in the fourth for Ithaca. Cam, you keep mentioning the second and third period are the strongest for the Bombers. The fourth, not so much. Cortland taking over big time right now.
Yep, and it was that penalty that really gave Cortland the momentum. The Bombers have had 2 penalties so far in the last 4 or 5 minutes or so, as there's 9:39 left to go. And as you said, Jeremy, the Red Dragons have taken their first lead of the game, but those penalties the Bombers have really got to be mindful of and play really clean, physical, hard lacrosse. You know they want to play physical as much as possible. It is a very high-intensity game. It's the Cortica of lacrosse, as we said earlier. But, you know, you really want to try and keep your emotions at bay. And try and commit as little mistakes as possible.
Dorian gets credit for the goal, the assist, number 10, Ryan Scaling. Ithaca, a big draw control win. They need the equalizer. 9:21 to go, Cam. Here's John Ceramic, who just scored his first goal this half, looking to help at least create his game-tying goal.
And here's Blake Eisen with it again. He's been a major offensive play.
And a shot, a sliding save, Wagner, rebound try. What a scoop by Natal, the defender. He started this game and he prevented a rebound tap-in try from going home. Cortland looking to extend their first lead of the ball game. Here's Dorian, working to the right.
You know, in a game like this, the Bombers have made some costly mistakes here early on in the fourth period. But you know, and those mistakes ended up costing you, and you really can't make those. You know, as I've said, the Bombers play their best lacrosse in the second and third period, not so much in the fourth as Cortland takes their first lead of the game here. But if you're the Bombers, maintain that tight defense, get back on offense, and take advantage. Take your time on the attack.
Dorian to Morris, and now to Stiles. Stiles has plenty of points this game, his handful. 8:17 to go in the fourth. This is Zach Jones. We mentioned his 5 goals early on. A 6th for him. Again, would extend this Red Dragon lead to 2. 21 on the shot timer with 8:02 to go in the game. Ithaca playing really great pressure defense now, and a shot by Morris goes wide. Cortland was close, but they have 11 to get another one on the 40.
Again, great defensive coverage there by the Bombers, not letting any Red Dragon close to the 40 to get a shot off. They've done pretty much all their goals very close to the net, as you know, we mentioned all game, but really great job of the Bomber defense.
Stiles a shot and another goal for Cortland. The second hat Dorian, a 4-0 run here in the fourth for the Red Dragons. This is shades of St. Lawrence, Cam. Again, that fourth quarter against the Saints, Ithaca went in up by 2. They lost that fourth quarter 5-0. Ithaca being held scoreless here in the fourth, and they've allowed 4 goals in the first 7 minutes and change. What do you have to say about this run by the Red Dragons here?
You know, a phenomenal run. Ithaca almost kind of breaking down again, as you mentioned, that St. Lawrence game a couple weeks back before. You know, you're right. They're losing a lot of momentum here in the fourth quarter. They were up by 2. They have led this pretty much entire game, but now Cortland takes a 2-goal lead and turns the tide.
An illegal motion on the draw control, Cam. A little salt in the wounds.
You know, and if I'm the Bombers, you know, I'm really focusing on playing aggressively, committing as less penalties as possible, but winning those face-offs, as Cortland won that face-off most likely, and they have possession once again on the offensive attack. So the Bombers really have to focus. They've got some time left to score a couple of goals and potentially try and win this game, but you got to focus on winning that face-off and spending as much time as you can on the offensive attack.
Ken, we've talked about momentum countless times. If you ask me about it right now, 100% in favor of Cortland. Troy Morris working at the middle, moving left. Finds Pat Dorian. He scored the last 2 goals for Cortland. Morris again. This is back to his right for Dorian. Now Stiles working inside. Tried to go wrap around instead. He ends up finding Dominic Manione. Another goal for Cortland. Dominic Yakavone. The tallies continue, a 5-0 run for the Red Dragons. Cam is getting out of control.
Yeah, there was no defense blocking Yakavone right there. He was pretty much just went from right behind the net towards the near post on his side and put it right past the 40. Nothing that really he can do. And the 40's defense is not helping his case at all. The 40 has made some great saves, kept the Bombers in this game, and pretty much has been a major factor for them all season long. But there was absolutely no defense as Yakavone was able to pretty much walk right in and score that goal.
Up until about 12 minutes left in this game, Cam, Ithaca had at least had the game tied or held the lead the entire way. Now with 6:29 to go in regulation, or in this game, Cortland now has the largest lead of the night at 3 goals in the Ithaca turnover in their own zone. Here comes Dorian, he scored. Carelessness on the defensive area of the turf, and Pat Dorian picks it up and scores his 3rd goal in the quarter, and Cam, this is just a mess at this point.
Yep, it is not looking good for the Bombers. Again, you brought up St. Lawrence a minute ago, and it's looking exactly that. The Bombers had a two-goal lead. It was 9-7 at the start of the quarter. Now it's 13-9. This is the biggest lead of the game, where Cortland never led the entire game. And so this is, and there's a timeout called here by Jeff Long, a smart timeout as the Cortland bench is going absolutely nuts.
And the sideline, deservedly so. I mean, when it rains, it pours. I mean, that's the best way to phrase that. Cortland, again, just really being shut down from doing anything consecutively, besides maybe turning over throughout the first 3 quarters of this one. Whatever the answer was to solving the riddle that is this Ithaca defense, they found it. And you've got to give credit to this Cortland bench. As great as Ithaca's played throughout the first 3 quarters, Cortland's had every answer they possibly needed throughout the course of this one.
Absolutely. And if I'm Jeff Long in this timeout, I'm yelling at this Bombers team. I'm yelling at them to win these face-offs, remember the fundamentals, win the face-offs, and spend a lot of time in that offensive attack. I've harped on it pretty much this entire second half, but that's what it comes down to. Win the face-offs. Ithaca's lost pretty much every single face-off this quarter, which has led to a lot of Cortland momentum downfield. So if you're Chase Gulick right now, who's in the circle, win the face-off, get in the offensive zone, and put it in the back of the net.
Again, if you're just joining us, Jeremy Goldstein, Cam Gosmer here on VIC, Ithaca and Cortland. Going into the fourth quarter, we're talking about a lot of the positives this Bombers team's provided today. Through 3 quarters, they led 9-7, hadn't trailed. 6:19 to go in this game. 6-0, fourth quarter advantage for Cortland. Ithaca does win this draw, thanks to Dimitri Lowry. And then John Ceramic looks to create something. He's being hounded by 3 Cortland midfielders as they now retreat as Jake Erickson catches. 6 minutes to go, plenty of time, but Ithaca has to work quickly. And the deficit has increased at an exponential rate.
You know, and if I'm the senior guys here in Erickson and Ceramic, I'm taking the team on top of my shoulders and getting as many opportunities as you can.
Spinning by Nebo in a shot that nearly snuck in, but Wagner made a really nice play on it towards the left post. Ithaca keeps it though, 5:40 left to go in the game.
A very smart play by Turner. That ball was going out of bounds. It looked like it was going to be Cortland ball, but Turner dived at the last second to get his stick right ahead of the Cortland defender, and it remains in Ithaca possession.
It is those small plays that can get teams back in the games, but Ithaca has not had a goal in the quarter. Here's Brumfeld.
Yeah, I'm working. I'm doing the webcast.
This is it back out to Stolman.
I'm currently wearing Fitz's coat.
Now Eischen. Going behind the net for Erickson. Again, he was hot early, has cooled down as of late. Finds a cut-in. Stolman save by Wagner. Then Cortland takes over. 2 massive saves, Cam, by Wagner on that final possession.
You know, not much you can do about that if you're the Bombers offense. Some great opportunities, really good shots late in this game. But Wagner coming up big for the Red Dragons, there's not much you can do about it.
Cortland can taking their time, and that's exactly what they should be doing. 60 to shoot, 4:47 to go in the fourth. Ithaca singing a very similar song we've seen before. Losing control of the contest in the fourth quarter.
And you really can't put your finger on why they've let the momentum slip away from them. They played phenomenal pretty much all game long, setting up a lot of offensive attacks. I've mentioned Blake Eischen really setting up some offensive plays, but it's been the fourth quarter the entire season, and they've let a lot of momentum get away from them.
Again, we just... It seems like minutes ago where we were watching John Ceramic celebrate a delayed penalty goal. Up 9-7 went the Bombers. And a 6-0 response from Cortland. I sound like a broken record again, but I can't emphasize it enough. You got to give credit where it's due. As Cortland looks to get that 5th, and they try to sneak one 5-hole past the 40. That was Jacobone, but great reaction save there. Ithaca got to work quickly. 3:54 to go on the game clock.
You know, you got to be careful when working quickly here, as you can potentially give up some mistakes. If there's no call there, as there might have been a cross check towards the neck area, but they're not going to. The rest did not call it, and
Ithaca will call timeout.
It's going to be timeout.
Brumfield went down. Obviously, great call by Long to be able to get a reset here. 3:46 to go. Kyle, Cam, getting confused with Kyle DeSantis here. They called plenty of games with him, but Cam, I'm with you now. I gotta ask you a big question here right now. 4-goal deficit, 3:46 to go. Obviously, chances are a lot more slim than you'd like them to be if you're Jeff Long, but what are you telling the team? What is that perfect execution? What aspect of the game do they have to get 100% right here, or is it all of it?
It's all of it. You know, as we said, they've lost a lot of momentum here in the fourth quarter. They let the game pretty much slip away from them. There's not much time left on the clock. It's 3:46 to go in the game in regulation. I personally really don't see a way for them to even try and crawl their way back. They're only down by 4. It is possible, but if I'm Jeff Long, I'm telling them to not as much take their time, but crisp passes and get that bouncer shot off past Wagner, as that has been his default pretty much all game long. And to get that bouncer shot off and get it past Wagner, is that he's not been able to stop that. Is all the goals of Ithaca so far, except that goal from John Ceramic, has been off the bouncer shot off the turf.
It's a great point. I mean, Cam, so much going on right now. Cortland deflating. Something worth noting, a stat. Ithaca was dominating faceoffs at the half. Cortland now has one more win on that in that category, 13-12. As Ithaca will take over here, 3:34 remaining in the contest.
You know, and there was a shot there by Blake Eishen before the ball went out of play. And there was a bouncer shot, and that's exactly what he has to do. They went a little wide, but again, great strategy for a bouncer shot.
Lunging shot by Niebuhr, he couldn't get it past Wagner. With 3:15 to go, Cortland once again takes over in the game, or the likelihood that Ithaca can come back, slip it away. Behind the back hit by Lowry, but Cortland does not surrender the pass. Now a turnover picked up. As here comes Ithaca, they got to work quick. I can't say it enough. 3 minutes to go. Here's Jake Erickson. Thought about the long-range shot, now looked to fire one, but got doubled, didn't have the angle. Eishen to Drew Turner on the right side. Finally Ceramic. Ceramic looking to go tomahawk style. Couldn't do it. Do so now finds Kyle Savory behind the yellow and blue line. Savory attacks left post, finds Niebuhr behind the net. A shot, point blank, sailed above the net wide. 2:34 to go in the game.
You know, and it's almost fortunate that this is, you know, I hate to say it, but it's almost fortunate that this is a non-conference game and won't really affect the Bombers in the Liberty League Conference, as they are currently 4th, right behind Union. But this was a great game until really now for the Bombers.
And so play Union, a rebound try, they score. Charlie Niebuhr, after the bounce by Erickson, was saved. A 13-10 game now for Ithaca. Cam, not out of reach yet, 2:25 to go, but they got to be perfect on these faceoffs, and they got to keep scoring quickly.
It's not impossible, but again, you hit the nail on the head. They've got to win these faceoffs, win every single one from here on out in order to tie this game and crawl their way back to potentially send it into overtime. But you know, the Bombers got really deep into the crease, and down low to beat Wagner there on the shot as they lose another faceoff.
Yep, Chase Kulik was 50%, 10 for 20 going in that one. Now has lost more than he's won. Ball loose on the turf. It's picked up by Ithaca. Again, gotta run. 2:10 to go now in the game. As here comes the rush. It's Patrick Cortland finding Erickson. Erickson throws a shot. They score! 2:03 to go. The deficit is now 2. Jake Erickson from the point. Again, 13-11 now, Cam. That's 2 quick goals.
This is a game now. This is exactly what you want to see if you're Coach Jeff Long. They took advantage of some missed passes there by the Cortland offensive attack, trying to get into their attacking zone, but really, really good pickups there by the Bombers and trying to crawl their way back. They're down by 2 with just over 2 minutes left to play. They've got some time to score 2 more goals as
the face-off to the Bombers. Chase Kulik, 50% again, 11 for 22. 1:55 to go here in the 4th. Here's Charlie Niebuhr, who had the 10th goal of the game for IC. Again, 1:37 to go now. Ithaca working to Brumfield. Brumfield attacking right side, tries to go wraparound. Gets denied by Cortland defense. Brumfield tried to center it for Ceramic. Ball loose on the ground. It is taken back by IC.
Great play there by a Bomber defender. I believe that was number 3, Dimitri Lowry, trying to poke it to one of the midfielders and attackers there to have Ithaca remain in the offensive zone.
Trying to direct traffic coordination. Ceramic has bouncer, and it's saved by Wagner. Ceramic scoops it up off the turf. 1:16 to go. Ceramic tried to find it, cutting Niebuhr, didn't have the pass. Now left on Ceramic, and it goes wide. Ithaca will keep it 31 to shoot. 1:07 to go. We have an Ithaca timeout now. 107 to go. Ithaca has it. 30 to shoot. Cam, tell me what needs to happen.
Maintain their play. They're playing a smarter ball, and it's definitely late in the third quarter. Definitely something that should have happened when Cortland tied the game originally. But, they're down by 2. Just over a minute. They've got some time. They've got to work quickly, as we've said, pretty much this entire latter half of the fourth period here. But they're playing a lot smarter. That play by Lowry is something so small, but had a massive factor as Ithaca will remain in the offensive zone. But there is not too much time left, just over a minute, as I said before. They got to get a goal off quickly, win that face-off, get back in the zone, and then score again. They could tie this up with potentially like 20 seconds left to go. They could tie this up. It has happened, and it could.
Again, in the end, it's about being active. You got to get the ball in your scoring sticks. So whether that's Ceramic, Erickson, the two guys who have really produced today. Ceramic, the most recent contributor. Again, you got to just take volume shots. Can't go crazy right now. 107, I understand you're into desperation mode, but you got to be efficient, especially this late.
And if I'm Erickson, even Proctor as well, and Ceramic, I'm taking this offensive load onto my shoulders. I'm setting as much plays as I can. I'm driving to the net, and I'm getting the ball into the back of the net.
Here's Jake Erickson, 103 to go now in this game. Gets denied by the defense, and tries to find an angle to shoot. He got triple teamed, has to get it back out to Brumfield. Brumfield past the white line at the middle. Tries to spin around. No, a shot by Storman, and another leg save, Wagner. And Cortland will take it over. A stick on it. Brumfield got it. Almost had it. Going down is Palmer. But Cortland does take over again. Just a really nice save by Wagner, sliding to his feet. And it looks like that's going to do it. Cortland has it. Shot clock out of effect now. And all they have to do is not turn it over, and the Red Dragons will go home with another out-of-conference victory on the season.
And it looks like it, but if I'm the Bombers, I am happy with that shot by Erickson there. But boy, did you really want that goal. And Wagner coming up with a big stop to stop the Bomber momentum. But boy, you really wish you had that goal.
Whistle on the ground with 9.4 to go. Ithaca will have it, but the likelihood of them getting across the turf, scoring, and then winning the face-off and scoring again seems nearly impossible. We have another timeout on the turf as both teams will discuss. Again, it's still a 2-goal deficit for IC with 9.4 to go. Cam, you nailed it on the head. They really wanted that goal by Erickson there, but unfortunately Wagner, with one of his most impressive saves of the night, might have put the game to rest.
That was his biggest and best save of this game so far. And it was that bouncer shot that has pretty much got him all game long, whether it was up high, whether it was down low. He was able to make that phenomenal save to stop the Bombers' offensive momentum. But he came up big for the Red Dragons, and that was his biggest save of the night. And if I'm the Cortland defenders, I'm begging right now because he came up with a phenomenal save to stop a goal.
Just to give you a recap, these goalies have played efficiently, really well, and they've done their job, especially when it comes to making these tough saves in clutch situations. Travis Wagner, 13 saves on 24 shots. That's a 54.2 percentage. Meanwhile, Foley, you got to give credit to him as well. 13 for 26. He saved half the shots they've gone on net. I mean, both goaltenders, despite the result of this game, likely now going to the Red Dragons, you got to tip your cap to both sides.
And the clock is still not over yet. There's just under 10 seconds to play. The Bombers are still down by 2, and that will likely do it as the Red Dragons still have the ball. But you got to give the goaltenders credit as they came up big for both teams.
Another disappointing fourth quarter results in another Bombers loss. The Red Dragons of Cortland take over the Bombers 13-11 here at Higgins Stadium.
I feel the Bombers, you really wanted this win, although it doesn't affect you in the Liberty League Conference as much. But now the overall series by Cortland is 42-14. They pretty much outplayed the Bombers in that fourth quarter and have outplayed them their entire history of the rivalry in lacrosse. But you got to be disappointed with that win with that loss. If you're head coach Jeff Long for the Bombers, and you really needed and wanted that win to maintain that momentum going forward.
Again, a couple of notes before we head to the post-game show. 2 more games left in the regular season for IC. They'll hit the road on Saturday to face 4th-ranked Union. A probably really difficult game for them, and then they'll play the regular season finale at home on on April 30th against 14th-ranked RPI. Before we run over to the post-game, special thanks to Susan Bassett and the entire athletics department, Justin Lutz, and the entire athletics communication department, General Manager of TV and Radio Operations, Jeremy Menard, Sports Director Matt Sossler, Field Producer Clay Davis, and Station Manager Chris Massiarelli. Again, I'm Jeremy Goldstein. This has been Cam Gasmer as well. We thank you for tuning into your coverage of Ithaca Men's Lacrosse here on VIC. We're going to tune over to the post-game show where Alex Chaprout and Blake Katzman will take it from here.
On VIC, the voice of Ithaca College.